Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Our Knits podcast. My name is Katie. I'm coming to you from Long Island, New York, where I live with my husband and our dog Lola, our crested gecko Skelly, and our betta fish Crowley. This is a podcast mostly about knitting and yarn, with some other crafts sprinkled in there from time to time as they come up in my life. I want to say a big thank you to all of my returning viewers and a nice welcome to everyone who's joining me for the first time today. Thanks so much. You can find me on Instagram as @ArrowKnits, and you can find me on Ravelry as knitmusic. There's also a Ravelry group for the Our Knits podcast. You can head over there to say hello or ask me any questions. You can also find the show notes for each episode over there in that thread as well. Just one announcement for today. It's the beginning of our hashtag #SpinForAll2017. Our Drop Spindle Spin Along, which is a spin along that I'm co-hosting with Taylor from Wool Needles Hands and Joy from The Anxious Knitter. So if you're interested in a Drop Spindle Spin Along, I will link down below to the promo video that we filmed with all of the details in it, but it is running from now until August 1st. And it's for drop spindles only, and we're gearing it towards newbies for the most part, but all levels are welcome. So check out the promo video. Each of us also has a chatter thread going on where you can post your progress, questions, things like that. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'll show you my spinning progress a little bit later. So let's get right into some works in progress. I have been knitting shawls, plural. I started one shawl since my last podcast. So the first work in progress that I want to share with you is my saturate shawl, which I showed you last time. It's a pattern by Orange Knits, Mara Catherine Briner. It is a half circle shaped shawl, and I've been talking a lot about it, but this is the progress I've made so far. It's so much fun. So right now I've just gotten into my fourth color. I just started using my fourth color a little bit more, but I still have the third color attached. And as you can see, I'm gonna cover my face. The color melting in this is super, super fun. So here's how it starts. And then here's where I'm at so far. And I did put a progress keeper on last time, so it's been about 2 weeks since I last filmed. So here's where I was last time. So I've gotten quite a bit done on it. Actually, at this point, I am done increasing for the length of the shawl. So I'm at the maximum number of stitches that I'm gonna have, but I still need to finish fading in the fourth color and then the fifth color, and then I have to do the border and then all of the fringe. So I have quite a bit left to go, but I don't want to stomp on my accomplishment so far with getting that much done, because it is quite a bit. It gets a little bit addictive, and as I mentioned last time, the pattern is set up in a table format, which is unusual, so you can just kind of check off all of the rows as you go along. So it's really easy to keep track of what color you're on, wrong side, right side, what else, if you're knitting or purling. So it keeps clear track of all of that for you. So in that regard, actually in all regards, I really highly recommend the pattern. It's just a lot of fun. I would like to say that I bought a color kit for this, a five skein set from Casual Fashion Queen. It's the Bohemian set. But the color melting technique that's going on here, I think would actually work well with things that were less sort of graduated in color. I have seen some on Instagram that melt from one color to another that aren't as similar. They're not so similar as mine, and I feel like it looks really cool. Like I've seen some projects that are sort of like mint striping to purple, and I think that it really just works. So if you're thinking about knitting the saturate shawl but you're not sure that your colors will melt together well, I would try it anyway, because they might. You can look at the hashtag on Instagram and check out some of the ones that are on, and Ravelry as well. I'm sure there are projects with different colors in them, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm knitting these on a US 4 needle, which is, I believe, a 3.5 millimeter. And I really like the fabric that it's coming up with. It's not too loose, because I don't like some of the fingering weight shawls that call for size US 6 or 7, which is like a 4 and a 4.5 millimeter needle. I just think it's too big. They're just really, the fabric is too open, especially for me, being that I knit a little bit on the loose side and usually have to go down a needle size, but I didn't in this case because I think that it's making a great fabric. Also, the yarn that I'm using is an 80-20, which tends to be a little bit plumper, and when I knit 80-20 versus 75-25 merino wool, I get sort of a thicker gauge. So I'm really enjoying it. Oh, I want to point out to you, I'm going to show this more in acquisitions, but it's just so cute, and it looks really cute attached to my shawl. It's my unicorn poop progress keeper from Truffles Shuffle. She's a new progress keeper shop. The shop owner's name is Jensen. Hi Jensen! So I'm going to show some more of her progress keepers later on, but I had to show you how cute the unicorn poop looks on the saturate shawl. And I'm keeping this in my fringe field bag, which actually, this is not knitting related, but I now have a really awesome, oh, shiny, labyrinth worm pin on my fringe field bag. I have quite a few pins, and I've never wanted to actually pin any of them on the fringe field bag because I didn't want to deface it in any way, but the labyrinth worm is just so cute, and he's my favorite character from the movie Labyrinth, so he needed to go on my fringe field bag. Also, the back of this pin has rubber stoppers instead of metal, so that kind of made me feel better about that part being inside with my yarn. All right, I have another shawl work in progress to show you, and it's one that I don't think I would have mentioned a couple weeks ago. I don't think it was out yet. It's called Free Your Fade by Andrea Mowry, and it is a new pattern. It uses 3 different colors. So I'm going to show you actually first and foremost the 3 colors that I have chosen. One of the cakes is going to look smaller than the others because this is attached to my knitting right now. So I'm going to be fading this into this. See if I can do this. And then finally this. So these are the 3 colors that I'm going to be fading. These are Hedgehog Fibers, the sock yarn, the 90-10. These are all club colorways that I've shown before on the podcast. This is Snapdragon, Sour Apple, Apple Sour, and Rosemantic. So I'm super excited to get to use these. I think that they are going to fade really well together, and I want to show you the progress that I've made so far. This is actually the right side. So it ends up being a triangle. This is the part that you're working on. So it starts with just a little, it starts with just a little point here, and then you increase, and you just keep increasing, and there are eyelet rows as well. So the eyelet rows happen at regular intervals, and then eventually you fade from one color to the next. According to the pattern, you only need, I think 200 yards of your first color, which is why I chose this. The Snapdragon is actually coming out a lot more colorful than I thought it would. I thought that this was going to be a white or natural colored yarn that ended up being speckled, but really it's just all of the colors. And it's really pretty because it is some neons, but it's also some autumnal tones as well, so it kind of tones it down a little bit. But I feel like the Snapdragon melting into the sour apple sour, I don't know why I keep calling it sour apple. I feel like this melt, sorry about the lighting, I feel like this melt will not be as nice as this melt. So, but I do think that it'll work. So you just keep increasing and increasing. The pattern never changes, but in doing that it gets larger and larger and larger, and then you end up using the, I would think that you would end up using the most of this color, but according to the pattern you use similar amounts of these 2 colors. But either way, I wanted this to be the ending, and then it ends with a picot bind off along the short edge, which I will do. I did make one change to the pattern, and this isn't giving anything away because it's right in the pattern description. The eyelet rows that I have done are all just regular eyelets with single yarn overs. The pattern has alternating single yarn over eyelets and triple yarn over eyelets. I did not like the way that it looked. I liked the way that it looked in the pictures. I didn't like the way that it was looking on my particular project. So I omitted them and I'm just doing regular yarn over eyelet holes. I have not been knitting on this for a couple days because I am worried that I'm using a needle that is too big. You can see that I don't have needle tips attached to this, and that's because I'm using the US 4 needle tips that I have on my saturate shawl for both of these projects, and this isn't so big yet that I have to put stoppers on it. I trust it. So I feel like this fabric may be too loose, and I feel like it's gotten loose as I've gone on. I did swatch for it and I was a little bit under gauge, so I thought that that was fine, but as I kept going I feel like I'm loosening up even more and I think it might be too much. Now my gauge is pretty much to pattern, so it's going to open up on me. The other thing is, if you've ever knit with hedgehog sock before, as I mentioned, it's a 90-10. It's also a super low twist yarn. There is nothing springy about it. It splits easily. The colors are beautiful, and the fabric of anything that you knit with it is really, really nice. It's actually sort of sturdy. But when you're actually knitting with it, it's splitty. And again, there's no bounce to it. There's no like pluck to the yarn. So for that reason, I find that it's sort of like flat to knit with, and I think my gauge loosens up because of it versus me knitting this on a high twist yarn such as the yarn that I'm using for the saturate shawl. So it's technically both fingering weight yarns, and they're both on a size 4, and they're even both garter stitch, but I'm having difficulty with the way that this fabric is knitting up, and so I'm kind of at a standstill right now as I pull the stitches off of the needle. As to if I want to just start this over before I get any farther, before I start adding the next color and before I start melting it in. And this is my little unicorn progress keeper, also from Truffle Shuffle. So cute. So again, this is Jensens shop, Truffle Shuffle. It's so cute. Look at it. My little unicorn. She has these in different colors. I think word on the street is that she won't have this color combo for a while, but she's got other color combos. She has just the cutest progress keepers. Her little dinosaurs are so cute. I saw on Instagram the other day that she was making little octopi. I saw an octopus and it was very cute. So yeah, this is just marking the right and wrong side for me because it's garter stitched and they kind of both look the same when you look at it quickly. So I've got that marking my my right side for me. So I'll report back to you next time as to whether or not I ripped this out and started over again. It's so fast. This took me no time at all to get this far, so really I don't mind ripping it back, and I think that I may try it with a 3. My only qualm about that is that my only size 3 needle is metal, number 1, so I tend to knit more loosely with a metal needle versus a wooden needle, and it's not very long. I think it's a 24-inch needle, so I'd be fine for that, but once it starts getting bigger I think it'd have a little trouble accommodating, so I'll probably try it anyway. You know what, maybe I'll start another one with the inside of that ball of Snapdragon, because even though I wind them into center pull cakes, I still take my yarn from the outside because it just collapses on me and it's a hot mess. Might have something to do with my ball winder. I don't know, maybe it happens to everybody, but I usually just pull from the outside. So maybe I'll just start a little one from the inside and just see how it goes, see how the gauge measures up, because like I said, I did the gauge swatch, and once I started knitting the project, my knitting was looser than it was when I did the swatch. It happens. So those are my only 2 works in progress. I actually have a half object to show you. which I usually do before works in progress, but I forgot. So this is my half object. It's a completed, just plain vanilla sock with an afterthought heel. This is my Valkyrie Fibers pudding colorway on her matte sock base. And then it's got a contrasting heel toes cuffs. I believe it's called, what are you, I'm gonna get it wrong. Not sure if it's what are you boys up to or what are you boys doing here. Anyhow, so 64 stitch, US 1.5 needle, 2.5 millimeter, just a little 1-inch 2x2 cuff, and plain vanilla. I did an afterthought heel. I did insert waist yarn here, and then I just did my regular toe to match the afterthought heel. So the heel and toe actually does match on this pair of socks versus the last afterthought heel sock I did, which was the V socks. I actually did a different toe and heel, and I was a little bit upset about that. So I'm very pleased with this. It fits me really well, and I have not cast on for the other one, but I will do that soon. I haven't been giving priority to it, but I did really want to finish this one, and I'm glad that I did because it came out really nice. It's a color combo that's not typical for me, but I really like it. I think it's the mint. I think it's the mint that does it for me with the gray, the blue, and the cream. So yeah, happy with this. The other work in progress I want to show you is my spinning progress for the Spin for All. So I've been spinning some more. I started a new little bunch of spinning. So first, let me remind you of what my old spinning looked like. This is what I had going. So this is more than half of the 2 ounces of fiber that I had. So here's what it looked like, and this is just a knitting needle. I just transferred it over to this knitting needle so I could clear my spindle. And as you can see, it's all kinds of thick and thin. This is just the fiber that I was last doing, so it's not even really spun. But most of it is thick and thin. And then, so let me show you what the new spinning that I've been doing looks like, the one that's actually on the spindle. So it's all brown, so it's a little difficult to see, but you can probably tell that it's much more even. It's not super even because I'm trying really hard to make it uneven because the other stuff is really thick and thin. So I'm trying to make this thick and thin, but it's difficult for me because I'm getting better at spinning. So yeah, this is gonna be an interesting yarn to ply. It's gonna be an art yarn, to say the least, but it'll be a learning experience for me. I don't have too much more left to spin on this. I really gotta get cracking on it so that I can ply it, but I just wanted to show you. I find that I'm spinning more evenly now. I think it has to do with my drafting. I feel like the more evenly I draft the fiber, well, that seems self-explanatory, the more evenly I draft the fiber, I'm getting better at drafting the fiber evenly, which is why my plies are coming out a little more consistent, but I'm kind of terrified to ply it. That's okay. I will get it done, and then I gotta figure out how to split up my beautiful braid that I showed you last time. I got some great advice in the comments below on YouTube, and then I also got some great advice from my friend Stephanie, who's a wonderful spinner. So I'm gonna take it all in and try and decide how I'm gonna split that up so that it doesn't look like unicorn barf when I go to ply it all. Because I want some barber poling, but I don't want anything crazy. However, all of those colors mix really well together, so I don't think it'll actually look like unicorn barf, so I should be okay with it. So yeah, that's it for all of my works in progress, knitting and non-knitting. I want to show you a couple acquisitions that I got. Nothing too crazy since last time that I saw you, but I did get something exciting in the mail that I am very happy to show you. and it is a skein of Fiber for the People yarn. So I have a feeling that most of you watching my podcast know what this is and who makes this. So this is the brainchild of Taylor from Wool Needles Hands, and this was from her first shop update, which was last week. I think it was a week from today. This is her Granny's Tea dress. This is actually a misfit of Granny's Tea dress. Her normal colorway is much softer and more subtle. This one's a little more saturated, which is what I tend to like. And actually what I'm noticing now, it's really cool, I hadn't noticed before, there's like this little greenish in there, like soft green every now and then. I know, right? Who thought that I would like soft green with blush colors and purple? That's insane. Insane! This is on her Taylor's favorite base. It's 80/20 merino nylon, which is my favorite base, as I mentioned before, because it's so springy. It's really, really plump. I have no idea what I'm gonna knit with this. I can't decide if I want to make this into a pair of socks or if I want to save it and try to pair it up with some other stuff to knit it into a shawl. I have no idea, but Taylor's color sense is really, really beautiful, but that's not even what I mean to say. It's not just her color sense, it's the way she's actually applying these colors that's even more interesting to me than her color sense. Just the way there's speckles, but then also little blips, I guess, rather than speckles as well, and then some like soft heathering. There's a lot of technique going on here, so her color sense is great, but I think that it's her technique that sort of blows me away even more than her color sense. And she has a really wide range of colors too. She just has all kinds of really, really nice colors. And I think she's gonna be having a shop update relatively soon. But she posts regularly at her Instagram account, Fiber for the People. And she also posts on her regular Instagram account, which is Wool Needles Hands. And you can find out when her next update is and hopefully get yourself some Fiber for the People. I want to mention that Taylor offers a lot of bases. So before you check out her shop update, go on her website, look at her bases, make a mental note, or if you're like me, an actual written note of which bases appeal to you, because when you use her shop and you see a color that you like, there's a drop-down menu that you select the base you want. So if you know ahead of time what all of those bases means and you kind of have a mental idea of what you want, it makes it a lot easier. And she has a really great area of her website where she explains what all of the bases entail. So there's pretty much something for everybody going on over there. And her packaging is really, really cute. She sends some little light bulb. Well, you can't see that at all, huh? Some little light bulb stitch markers. They're brass and there's one black one. I really like the brass ones actually. I don't have any. This is totally my style. I love light bulb stitch markers. I use these actually for my beginning of round markers when I do socks on 9-inch circulars. Because they are so thin, I feel like they don't affect the gauge of my socks. Have you ever used like a thicker stitch marker on fine gauge yarn and found that that row where the stitch marker is, the stitches are just more open just because of your stupid stitch marker? So these are so skinny that that doesn't happen. So that's what I use these for. So, and then I also use them for all kinds of other things, including like, you know, when a button pops off my shirt. This is actually what I use instead of a safety pin. I use one of these in place of where the button was. So really, really cute. She also has a beautiful card that she sends along. And this is her business card. It's the same photo, I believe. It's really, really pretty. So Fiber for the People, and oh good, I was hoping this was on here, so I will show you, but her Instagram is at fiber.for.the.people. And then her other Instagram is just Wool Needles Hands. So check out Taylor's shop. lots of pretty things over there, and Taylor's also really awesome at answering any questions you may have about her bases or colors or anything like that. She's very easy to get in contact with and very sweet. So check out Taylor's shop. How about patterns on my radar? I don't know about patterns on my radar. I do want to admit that I did try to cast on another project this week and it's not working out. It's a, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's I don't know if you actually say Chain. It is a linen. It's intended for linen, and it's a short sleeve top that's supposed to be super oversized, and then it's got drop stitch lace panel that comes down this way in the front, so it's intended to be worn over a tank top. Well, I mean, I would wear it over a tank top. I certainly can't wear it without one underneath, but it's intended for warm weather and for linen. I have some super old, I shouldn't say super old, I have some old Reynolds 100% silk yarn that I was trying to use for it because I thought that silk would also be a good summer weight fiber, which I do think that it is, but because the drape is so different, I did do a gauge swatch, and I actually even washed the gauge swatch while I soaked it. So I actually did do the whole 9, and then I measured it after it dried, and I was getting gauge. I didn't pull apart what I have. I only have a few rows. I'm not sure if I'm liking the fabric. I think I'm also just sort of uncomfortable with the open laciness of the whole thing. It's stockinette stitch, the rest of it, and then there's that lacy panel on the front. But when I say that it's supposed to be oversized, the pattern suggests 16 to 20 inches of positive ease, which is huge. So the first size is, I believe, 54 inches, and that's the smallest size that the pattern comes in. And on me, that's about 14 inches positive ease from my bust size, which is unusual. I never knit the smallest size of anything. And I don't have a lot of that silk yarn, so I cast it on for the smallest size of it, knowing that I was still going to have 14 inches of positive ease, because I really don't feel that I need 20 inches of positive ease. I also don't, I know that I don't have enough yarn according to the pattern to knit the next size up anyhow, and I'm actually thinking that I may not even have enough yarn to do actual sleeves. It's a seamed piece, and I can just leave it here like this to have it as like a shell to go on top of a tank. So I'm still playing around with it. Again, I think the openness of it makes me a little bit uneasy about the knitting of it. So I actually have another acquisition that I want to show you that I almost forgot because I showed her progress keepers earlier. So I mentioned a couple times the Truffles Shuffle shop on Etsy, and she's got some beautiful progress keepers. So I ordered the unicorn poop and the unicorn from her, from Sweet Jensen, and she actually sent me along an extra unicorn poop for you guys. So I'm gonna hold on to this for a little while. I'm gonna use this as a giveaway, or at least part of a giveaway, but I can't lie, the unicorn poop is my favorite. So it was hard for me, you know, not to keep this, but I think I only need one unicorn poop. I think I'm good with just the one, so I think that it's okay if I give this one away, but it's not easy. It's so cute. And it does have a glitter glaze on it. I don't really know the technical terms of polymer clay art, but it does have like a glitter glaze, so it's sparkly. So I will be holding on to this. And then she also sent me along a really sweet little set of stitch markers, which I need. I actually do need stitch markers. So they're all tied together, but it's two larger ones that are like gemstones. Remind me of Superman. And then it's these little ring stitch markers, the snagless ones that have little tiny beads on them, which I've been wanting to get for a long time. And actually stitch markers like this with the little beads, the snagless ones, are almost what I picked up at that Long Island Fleece and Fiber Fair that happened a few weeks ago. That was what I was eyeing, so I was super excited when Jensen sent me those. because I've been needing them. So thank you so much, Jensen. And I also wish Jensen a lot of luck with her new shop. I think that it's doing really well. You should check out her Instagram. She's, her shop is Truffles Shuffle. I'll put it up on the screen. And then Jensen's Instagram is Truffle Shuffler. And Jensen is a wonderful knitter. She makes some crazy beautiful shawls. So her personal Instagram, her personal knitting Instagram is worth checking out as well. So now I'm done with acquisitions. So that's all I have for this episode. I know it's a little bit shorter than usual, but hopefully next time I'll have a ton of progress on both of my shawls to share with you, and hopefully a new project as well. I have a little bit of cast-on-itis, so hopefully I will cast on something new really, really soon. And don't forget, the Spin for All 2017 is going on right now, so if you're interested, check out the promo video. And until I see you next time, happy knitting!